With warmer weather approaching, now is the perfect time to read Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen as a beach read. I'm Jess. I own The Reading Chamber, which is an online bookstore for young adult fiction. This week's deeper dive into the books we sell at The Reading Chamber features Along for the Ride, which you most likely have seen at Barnes & Nobles. Netflix did come out with a movie a couple years ago, which was honestly just okay. Sarah Dessen is one of the absolute queens of YA, so her books are so good, and they have a great balance between hard-hitting topics and carefree fun. Her books also have hidden Easter eggs between them because they take place in either Lakeview or the beach town Colby, which is where Along for the Ride takes place. This features Auden, who is a straight-laced, good student, and she's visiting her estranged father, his new wife, and their new baby for the summer. She's never really experienced a lot of teenage fun because she's always been trying to live up to the expectations of her academic mother. The pressure she puts on herself amounts to insomnia, and when she's on one of her nighttime walks around Colby, she meets Eli, who is a local. He works at a bike repair shop on the boardwalk, and the two of them strike up a friendship based off of their mutual insomnia, and they both get each other out of their comfort zones. This title explores grief, parental issues, first love, and discovering what makes you you. What do you want out of life? What impact are you going to make? Along for the Ride is one of my favorite books, so it's also listed under the Justice Favorites tab on my website, in addition to the different genres. Favorites tab is a great showcase of titles that we sell at the Reading Chamber that I personally adore. I've read YA books for well over 15 years at this point. I know what makes YA books good, so those are ones I would definitely recommend checking out. While my absolute favorite Sarah Dessen book is The Truth About Forever, Along for the Ride is a really close second. I highly recommend this book for anyone who's age 15 and up. This week, I finally got back into reading more YA books, and so I finished One Last Breath by Ginny Myers Sain. I first heard of this author a couple years ago when her first book, Dark and Shallow Lies, came out, and I devoured it. I fell in love with her writing style, and while I think her second book, Secrets So Deep, wasn't as good as her first book, this third one definitely lives up to Dark and Shallow Lies. Drew lives in a small town in Florida that's haunted by the brutal murder of two best friends nearly 20 years ago. The murderer hasn't been caught, and Drew has always felt like she's had a strange connection to what happened. When a new girl, Rio, comes to town, she and Drew have an instant connection, and they start digging into what actually happened the night that Celeste and Bailey were murdered. I loved how there are multiple people in this book that the reader can suspect of killing the two girls. It's a really great kind of whodunit book while also having the tension of somebody being after them. They're being stalked and feel that they are the next victims. So that tension that amounts throughout the entire book really kind of keeps you going and keeps you reading. There was one plot point I won't spoil, but I absolutely loved it. I suspected it from the first chapter, and I'm so glad that I was right. This book had me on the edge of my seat, kept me on my toes, wondering who the Glade Reaper was, if he was involved. I loved the mystery of it. I do wish the epilogue was a little longer, but overall, this is a really great book, especially if you love thrillers, YA or not. I highly recommend Ginny Myers Sain books. We sell Dark and Shallow Lies at the bookstore, so I'll do a deeper dive into that when the time comes. For now, make sure you check out Along for the Ride at the bookstore, subscribe for more YA recommendations, and I hope you found 2 new authors to read.